This is Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Senior here with you. I'm fired up about this football team. I know you are as well. So I want to open up the mailbag because when Eagles fans are emotional, that really brings out the passion for a passionate fan base and the most passionate fan base in football. So with the Eagles having lost 2 games in a row, both ugly defeats, let's see what Eagles fans have to say. Let's see what they have to ask me. You have questions, I have answers. So let's take your questions for this mailbag. Let's begin with this $205 super chat from Elijah Stovall. What a real one, Elijah. We appreciate you. You're the man. Fire Kevin Patullo. Look for a wide receiver. 1 to 2 offensive linemen in the draft. Brown in the line, getting older and inconsistent. If not, you need an immediate contingency plan. All right. So a lot to unpack there. I said during the postgame show, not necessarily because I think he's done an awful job. He's done a poor job, not an awful job. I think lack of player execution and penalties have hurt him. Plus, he's running Nick Sirianni's offense. But I think Nick Sirianni has to fire Kevin Patullo. He has to fire him because it's the only way to save the season. This Eagles offense is listless. This Eagles offense is anemic. It is vanilla, predictable. And while it's Sirianni's scheme, one thing I've said all year, Kevin Patullo lacks play calling feel and play calling rhythm. And I think firing or demoting Kevin Patullo is the only thing that can spark some life into a lifeless Eagles offensive line or offensive unit. And speaking of the offensive line, that doesn't help Patullo either, right? He's coming into this year and he's thinking, Saquon ran for more than 2,000 yards last year. Left to right, we have Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, and Lane Johnson. We're going to be able to run the ball. We saw what Jalen Hurts did last year when he was on and what he's done in his career. This Eagles interior offensive line and this Eagles offensive line as a whole has severely underproduced this year. Jordan Mailata hasn't been the same guy. Landon Dickerson, hurt and bad. Cam Jurgens, like Landon Dickerson, getting bullied up front. Tyler Steen, been fine. Eagles miss Mekhi Becton. Lane Johnson, hurt all year, hurt again. And so that hasn't helped the Eagles, but with Elijah pointing out the offensive line, we know that Howie Roseman likes to build up in the trenches, right? That's the foundation of this Eagles team, offensive line, defensive line. And that's been how he approaches team building strategy for a long time. He's going to look at the draft and he's going to look to potentially improve this offensive line. Now, can Drew Kendall, Cameron Williams, and Miles Hinton develop? If they can, that gives you some offensive line depth. But this year, they weren't ready. They were not ready. Do you trade A.J. Brown? If he demands a trade, I could see the Eagles trading him. If he doesn't demand a trade and the Eagles change OCs, I could see him not demanding a trade and him being on the Eagles in 2026. But if he goes nuclear after the year and he demands a trade, he wants out, he wants to go somewhere else, and he continues to become a distraction, are the Eagles going to want to deal with the distraction? He's a big physical wide receiver. You don't know how he's going to age. And I will say, against Dallas, against Chicago, he played well and looked like the AJ that we have become accustomed to seeing. And that's an all-pro player each of his 3 seasons with the Eagles going into this year. But it's certainly interesting. If the Eagles collapse the rest of the way, they're going to have to make some changes. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie are too aggressive and they care too much about winning to not make some big changes. Cheryl, $2 super chat. Why so much wasted talent? It's a conundrum. Where do you even start to fix this offense? The offensive line can't block. They can't get a push in the ground game. The Eagles' most efficient and effective play, the tush push, isn't even working because the interior of this offensive line is not good. Jalen Hurts, outside of the start of that Cowboys game, coming out of the bye against the Packers, against the Lions, for much of the Cowboys game, and for the entire duration of the Bears game, for lack of a better term, has been awful. And it's unfortunate because against Minnesota and against New York, he was excellent. And you thought that the Eagles offense going into the bye found something. Nick Sirianni and really this Eagles organization has done such a good job of figuring things out during the bye week. But this Eagles offense has fallen off a cliff after the bye. They have been such a hard team to watch. I feel like I am watching an ancient offense. That's because it is. So the play caller doesn't have play calling feel or rhythm. The scheme stinks. It's predictable vanilla. The route concepts don't make sense. You're not scheming open plays for guys. The players aren't executing. The quarterback isn't playing well. Where do you start? So much has to change, and can so much change when we're 13 weeks in, going into week 14? You're 8-4, you're collapsing, and the Cowboys are hot. It's a massive, massive concern. And the 2023 vibes are real. Haven Mooring, should they hire Brian Daboll? What will the offense do? So, either way, whether Nick Sirianni demotes Kevin Patullo now or after the year, if this offense continues to look like this, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman are going to go up to Sirianni and they're going to say, you have to make a change at offensive coordinator. There's no other choice. Sirianni is a good game manager. He's a good CEO head coach. He does a good job overseeing the operation. He has built a terrific culture. I like his philosophies, tough, detailed, together. The Eagles have done such a great job under him of keeping the ball safe, manufacturing turnovers because he emphasizes the importance of ball security, taking the ball away. I think Nick Sirianni is an elite head coach. And don't tell me, well, he doesn't call plays. What does he do? Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, and others haven't or have not called plays, right? You don't have to call plays to be an elite coach. But when you are a CEO head coach and you're not calling the plays, yes, you can become coordinator reliant. You've got your DC in Vic Fangio. I know this Eagles rushing defense not good against Chicago, but against the pass, they were pretty good. Against a really good coordinator. And the defense was the only reason why this game wasn't a 40-10 ball game. So you have your defensive coordinator. You got to make a change at offensive coordinator after the year if this continues. If you don't, after this game, which I think you need to light a fire under this team, to give them some life and belief. Just a different voice. Because it's also concerning how Jalen Hurts has really regressed coming off a year in which he won Super Bowl MVP. And so Brian Daboll is an intriguing name. Now, ideally, you want to find an OC who's never going to get a head coaching job. But the best candidates are guys who might get another chance at a head coaching job. Brian Daboll might. Now, I think he might be in the mix for that Penn State job. But Daboll was a coordinator for Jalen Hurts at Alabama. Elevated Daniel Jones. Elevated Josh Allen. Did some nice things with Jackson Dart. Maybe he's not a head coach. But as an offensive mind, I do believe in him. And as an offensive coordinator, I would believe in him. And that is a name that I would be interested in. Dennis Designs, $20 super chat. Jeffrey Lurie has to chime in to stop the bleeding. See, this is what Jeffrey Lurie does. Jeffrey Lurie is not a meddling owner. He is not going to micromanage. But when his voice needs to be heard and he needs to step in to course correct and apply some pressure, and when he thinks something needs to change, Jeffrey Lurie will make his voice be heard, and Jeffrey Lurie will force some change, and he will make some suggestions, and he will have a tough sit-down conversation with Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman. It wouldn't surprise me if they're having that conversation tonight. And Nick Sirianni, he may have told his wife, babe, not going to be home for a while. Sorry. So I agree, Jeffrey Lurie has to chime in to stop the bleeding. This is one of his greatest strengths. He has such a great pulse for his football team, his organization, and how to run a business. And I think he does have to step in at this point before it's too late, before a great opportunity to repeat as Super Bowl champion slips away. Here's the thing, too. When the Eagles are playing their best football, is there a team in the NFC that can beat them? I don't think so. Tell me the best team in the AFC. The Denver Broncos with Bo Nix, who for the most part this year has been bad? Do you believe in the Jacksonville Jaguars? Do you believe in the Los Angeles Chargers, the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts? You get things right. This NFC is wide open. And who is the AFC representative going to be in the Super Bowl? The Bills stink. They can't stop a nosebleed. The Ravens are not that good, and they're hurt. There's a great opportunity there, which is why the Eagles need to feel some pressure right now. Bub Sams, how confident are you in the Eagles still making it to the NFC Championship game? I mean, right now, in the moment, I'm not that confident. I'm not that confident because there's so much that needs to change. James Walter, Chase, Bears fans needed this win. They haven't been good since 2018. But the Eagles were desperate too. And congratulations to the Bears because Eagles got their asses kicked. The official E-Raptor. Jalen Hurts hasn't been playing at his usual level. Offenses look pretty vanilla lately. Yeah, so Hurts is up to 27 touchdowns and 4 total turnovers this year. Touchdown turnover ratio, that's fantastic. But coming out of the bye and since then, he's been really bad with the exception of the start of that Cowboys game. He needs to play so much better. The Thunderhounds, hey Chase, do you think this is the last season with Dallas Goedert? I think it's a good possibility, yeah, because he's an older tight end who's been injured a lot, and he might demand a lot of money this offseason, which would be unfortunate. He's criminally become underrated over time as a great Eagles player who's been one of the best playoff performers in the history of this organization. Number 2 behind Devontae Smith in playoff receiving yards. Great pass catcher, great blocker, great all-around tight end, but older, injured, and expensive. Eagles might try to get younger there. If they do make changes at tight end, they need multiple tight ends who can block. Big question here. Will the Eagles win the NFC East? Type yes. Type no. Let me know down in the comment section right now. It's slipping away.